on Tap is brought to you by Go To Pro Plumbing, Land & Sea Motorsports, On the Bay Customs Boutique and Cafe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I don't know what we're yelling about!
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
Loud noises!
Not a game.
This is the first time in my life I'm glad I'm deaf.
We're talking about practice, man.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
65.
63. Knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With music that's jaw dropping, they're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, and you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and rock with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's all tax.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap. I am Chris Scott alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Giagata, otherwise known this episode as Draftapalooza. Basically, this entire episode is going to be about the NFL draft coming up on Thursday night.
Yes, barring a few things ahead of time, but yes.
Barring a few things ahead of time, because we figured we'd talk about them a little bit because, you know, they're somewhat relevant. I mean, obviously not as relevant as the NFL draft, but a couple things that we want to get out of the way first before we really truly get into the to the draft talk.
I am just super excited for this show.
I know you've been excited. Yeah,
I am.
This first thing you said when you walked in, you're like, "I am so excited."
I
for this.
am so happy.
Even when we talked at the end of last week's show and mentioned, like, why don't we just do a fantasy draft?
Right.
The reaction he gave.
I was like, yeah.
I was like, oh my, he's more excited possibly than when his ex told me that they were pregnant. Like, this is how excited he is about this.
I am all about the NFL draft.
Absolutely.
I'm all about the NFL draft. I love it.
All right. So before we get into that, a couple things. The NHL finally did something right.
Yes.
And they signed a new television deal with ESPN and Turner, which includes TBS and TNT and HBO, apparently.
Yes.
Which it's about time they finally, instead of like wishing for a deal or anything, they actually searched one out and actually found one that makes fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
Went out and got it.
Yeah. And not necessarily with a network that made sense.
Right, exactly. Which, you know, we crush Gary Bettman a lot because he's been a pretty shitty commissioner.
Mm-hmm. He deserves it.
He deserves it, 100%.
He's been fine as a businessman, not great,
right,
but fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being a commissioner, no, he's dropped the ball more than he's made a right decision.
100%.
Sure.
But this one, they absolutely got right. So, you know, credit where it's due. The NHL finally got something right when it comes to their media package. Now let's hope, for the love of God, with this new media package, market your fucking players correctly. Please, that's all I ask of you. Just market your fucking players correctly.
You're asking too much.
Oh my God, dude. It's just
real quick question though, and I was going to mention this before, but as soon as we discussed talking about it on here, I figured I'd wait. Does TBS and TNT still do baseball, or TBS still do baseball?
TBS does, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think TNT does during the playoffs.
So
yeah,
look at Warner now as almost like a sports channel.
Yeah.
Well, they had the Champions League too in soccer.
Okay.
And they literally ended the deal before their contract was up because the production of it was horrific.
But now you have the MLB.
Yeah.
You have basketball.
You have
hockey.
You have the MLB.
the MLB.
You have the MLB.
Oh, you
the NBA. The NHL. And they also have...
But those ones actually make sense.
The AEW wrestling program.
The All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, all right.
I'm not saying that this is... Yeah, I'm not saying that this is a major sport. I'm saying that they also have a version of sports entertainment on there.
It's the part that's throwing them off.
It is.
It's
But like the
it's-
NHL, the NBA, those
Yeah.
actually work. The MLB just fucking drives me nuts.
Well, see, yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that because when you say it out, it's the National Basketball NBA, National Basketball Association. So the NBA, the
Right.
National
That
Basketball.
works.
That makes sense. NFL, National Football League,
The
the
National
National Football League. That makes sense. Major League Baseball, the Major League Baseball doesn't make any sense, but
make any
people
sense.
don't realize that when they're saying the acronyms.
Right.
They just say the MLB, the NHL, they don't realize that when they say that.
So
but
I got
when you hear it in your head and you know what it stands for,
Right.
you listen to it and you go, because I even did it.
Uh-huh.
I was
what
going to
it,
say, you
last week?
guys have literally taken this from me just starting off with
Yeah.
the MLB to me realizing I sound like a fucking idiot.
No, he called me out for doing it, 2 weeks
Oh
ago?
no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying you guys are making me. You've made me realize I sound like an idiot when I say that.
I got my
I did it 2 weeks ago and he called me out on it.
I got my gears out of the way early.
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
But you have 3 major sports
Yeah.
and other sports programming on there. Like, that's a channel that now can be mentioned along with Fox and ESPN and stuff like that for a sports network, I think.
Yeah.
What I read, like Fox was in the bidding till like the very end, and
I'm going to be disappointed we don't get robots. I always love the
or glow
robots.
pucks. They're gonna try to bring the glow puck again.
Yes.
God, the thing
But
is-
the one thing I'm hopeful for, which we were discussing right before, is maybe there's a way we get some unedited on ice commentary.
Oh, yeah,
if we're
like-
going to HBO Max with
yeah,
this.
like we talked about, like a simulcast. You know,
Yeah.
of a certain game, you have the edited version on TNT or ESPN, whatever channel you want to put it on.
Get some mic'd up players.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then put the unedited version on HBO Max. And if you want to watch that, cool. Which I suspect most people will,
Right.
without kids, obviously. Yeah, I think they should absolutely. They won't do it.
No,
but I
not a
think
chance.
they should absolutely at least try it.
Yeah, that's not. I hope they do, but I doubt they will.
I doubt they will too.
I just look at it, and hockey, since the lockout, really, since the 2004 lockout, has been called a cult sport.
Oh yeah, like a niche.
Yeah, with a niche.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
a
kind
niche
of
market.
a niche market.
Yep.
There we go. So when you have that type of viewership, those people are so hardcore into the sport that they know that hockey is not the PC sport that it comes off as. So I think that's a perfect opportunity to capitalize on more money.
Oh, for sure.
out of that sport.
I think we all agree that hockey is a niche market. We're in that niche market ourselves, but it is. I mean, you're not going to get the casual sports fan or the casual person to sit down and really watch a hockey game.
It's a territorial sport.
It is.
100%.
It's you're not
You
going
have to sell people on a sport that doesn't have a ton going on at all times.
right. And it's one of those things where hockey's kind of a complex sport to understand to just sit down and kind of watch a game. Baseball's pretty easy to explain to people for the most part, the basic rules of it. You can sit down and watch a baseball game.
Just watch Bull Durham.
right.
Hit the ball as far as you
you-
can and get to whatever
You hit the
base
ball,
you can get to
you
before the
throw
ball gets there.
You catch the ball.
It's
Simple.
one of those things where it's hard to get the casual fan, but
Right.
when it comes down to it, I think the NFL showed a good way to market your sport, whatever it is, to multiple markets of people, and they did it via having Nickelodeon involved in some of their broadcasts.
Yep.
I fucking loved it. I know you guys did too.
I just thought it was a great idea.
It was a great idea for them to do it.
Uh-huh.
And I think the NHL could do it in the opposite direction because kids that like hockey will sit down and watch it anyway. They don't need the Nickelodeon type stuff. But if they were to do it for an adult broadcast of having players mic'd up and having what's really happening, really
Yeah.
being said on there, they could do that in reverse of what the NFL did. And it would work. It would definitely work.
And I think by doing that, you open the door to the possibility of other sports also doing that.
Yes.
I don't think you would get a sport like baseball to do it.
No,
I think baseball
not a
tries to
chance.
keep it
Yeah.
too G-rated.
too hoity-toity.
Yeah,
Right.
baseball wouldn't do it. I think football. I think it'd be great at football.
Well, I would love it for football.
Football could.
They mic
That
up.
was
They
where I was
mic up
going with it.
everybody,
Yeah.
and they just kind of bleep out what gets
Yeah.
said, and they kind of edit it. If they did a broadcast that was full mic'd up,
Oh, shit.
and unedited, I'd watch that.
Oh hell, absolutely, hell yeah, I would watch that.
absolutely, would I watch
Even
that?
if you just did like a version of the Sunday night game and put it on there, like I think there's something there.
Well, let's face it. For the most part, who cares about the commentators anyway? I'd rather hear the players. if you did a version of it where
Just a
it
straight mic'd up
it was
players,
just
that's it.
straight mic'd up players, no color commentary, no announcers, no nothing, I would watch that version.
Yeah, I would too.
100%.
Absolutely. I would watch
Especially if
that.
you got like mics on the benches and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like just talking specifically hockey, I'd be 100 times more interested in hearing what Blashill's saying
Oh,
during
yeah.
a game.
Yep.
Then
do this,
what-
do this.
Than what fucking Pierre has to say in between the penalty boxes every day.
what Sidney Crosby had for breakfast? I don't know.
Ask Pierre, he knows.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He knows because he fed it to him.
That's right. Jesus. So moving from hockey with one shitty commissioner to another sport with another shitty fucking commissioner and Rob Manfred.
The MLB.
The MLB, yes.
The MLB.
So earlier, it was last week, and Madison Bumgarner of the Arizona Diamondbacks, he threw a no-hitter.
And this is my grind my gears this week, by the way. We weren't going to do a grind my gears segment. You got yours out of the way?
Yes.
This one's fucking mine.
So he throws a no-hitter, and mind you, this was in the first or second game of a doubleheader. And if you don't know, for doubleheaders this season, they're only 7 innings long each game. So Madison Bumgarner throws a 7-inning no-hitter. Now, the issue with this is Major League Baseball is not recognizing this as a no-hitter.
Fucking bullshit.
And Joe, go.
It's fucking bullshit. when you change the rules, so baseball changes rules, and then all of a sudden, after you change those rules, you go, no, that doesn't count. No, we know that we only are having you play 7 innings, but that doesn't count. No, fuck you. That counts. That fucking counts. Have an asterisk that says it's a 7 inning complete game, no hitter, whatever the fuck you want to do, but it counts. You can't just change the rules and then say, well, no, your complete game no hitter doesn't count. It's not his fault he only pitched 7 innings. It was your fault. You're the one that fucking told him he could only pitch 7 innings. You're the one that made the game 7 innings. That's your fault. You can't say that a pitcher can't get a complete game shutout, no hitter, or whatever the fuck else they're going to do and say it doesn't count in a 7-inning game when it's your fault of playing 7 innings.
But the funny thing is, say he gave up a hit, but it was still a shutout, that would have counted as a complete game shutout.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is dumb. It's like, so wait a minute. So
something counts, but something doesn't count.
Yeah.
But now it counts. And I brought it up before the show. I
Yep.
said it's like, say baseball comes up with a stupid rule where they put a guy on second base in extra innings.
Wait
Wait.
a minute.
Wait. They do that.
They did that.
They do that.
They
do that.
do do that.
They do do that.
And so
That's what I think of that fucking rule too.
yeah, it's doo-doo. Are they going to say that doesn't count as a run batted in for the guy who bats him in because he just ended up on second?
Right.
He didn't. Was it an error that he got there? Like, how does it work? No, that counts as an RBI.
The guy
You
who
can't-
starts off at second, though, if he scores, does that count?
does that count as a run?
Does he
score?
get a run?
Does he get? I
Yeah.
don't know. I have to look into this.
to
But
the pitcher. Does it go as an earned run?
right. So but you can't just change rules and then say things aren't going to count because you change the fucking rules to the way you want them, and then after something happens, you go, well, no, we don't really agree with that. So you know
Right.
what? That doesn't count.
In a
no,
world
fuck you, it counts.
where Edwin Jackson threw 16 walks and still got a no-hitter, I think we can count a 7-inning no-hitter as a no-hitter.
And like we talked about before, at least make it a complete game no hitter. 7 innings, but have it be an asterisk.
Yeah,
that it
that's
was
fine.
that it was.
That's fine.
At the bottom of the little plaque at the Hall of Fame where the ball goes,
Yep.
there's this whole mural with every no-hitter ball in it.
Yep.
You just put the little asterisk and it says 7-inning game.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
That's all it takes. That's literally all it takes. But for you to say, for the Major League Baseball to come out and say that doesn't count,
This is now going to become a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
to say that doesn't count, fuck you, it counts.
Oh, it absolutely
it's
counts.
your fault that it's 7 innings. You're the one that made this fucking stupid ass rule.
No, it absolutely
counts.
Absolutely, 100%.
And there's so many people out there right now saying that people shouldn't even argue whether it counts or not because it's not 9 innings. Fuck you. the Major League Baseball decided that they were only going to have 7 inning games.
Which
it's not the player's fault.
Is another thing that I absolutely fucking despise is that they're making doubleheaders 7 innings. Are you fucking? What is
Yeah.
this fucking beer league softball? Come on, what the fuck are we doing here?
What is it, Little League?
It's dumb. It's fucking ridiculous. Baseball
Okay.
games are 9 fucking innings long.
Are we gonna have mercy rules now?
Honestly,
if you're winning by 10 runs after 5 innings, we just call the game.
I could absolutely see
What-
that happening.
Yeah, I was just gonna
But
say
if it was 10-0 and the
That
pitcher
won't surprise
pitched
me.
a no hitter by 5 innings and they called it a complete game
Yeah.
because like would he get the no hitter then if it was a mercy rule?
Right.
that is
like-
not a good baseball no hitter.
That's but that's the type of shit we're going to run into because baseball is now teetering on changing rules so much that doesn't even sound far fetched right now.
No,
for them to
I
say,
can absolutely see that happening.
yeah. And that's amazing to me that we're talking about the fact that we think it's a possibility that Major League Baseball could actually say we're going to have a mercy rule.
Yep.
But they've done so many other stupid things and changed so many other fucking stupid rules that we're looking at it going, no, that's a possibility.
Yeah,
that could
I
happen.
can see that.
That could really fucking happen.
Now, on a positive note for Major League Baseball, this developing rivalry between the Padres and the Dodgers, it's oh my god, it's fucking great so
here
far.
for it.
I am too. I love it. The games have been fucking fantastic.
Yes.
And the thing that I like about it too, like not just for this show, but like as friendship
Yeah.
works, you're a Padres guy, I'm a Dodgers guy.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that naturally this just started happening.
That's
now.
great.
Like this wasn't pre-planned.
No.
I didn't look at you and go, "Oh, you're a Bills fan, so I'm going to be, a New England fan."
Right.
You just happen to like San Diego. I
do.
liked Mookie. Mookie jumped over to the Dodgers.
I dig it.
Now we got a little rivalry.
I
here.
dig it. I love just the enthusiasm that the Padres play with. I fucking love it. Like
They're
Tatis.
young, dude.
Oh, I fucking dig
They're
it, man.
young, and when you get a young team, that's what happens. And people are going to start bitching soon enough.
Of course.
They did last year.
Of
It's
course.
going to start coming up again.
They were down 7-1.
Yeah.
They don't quit.
They don't.
They don't quit at all. They ended up winning that game in extra innings.
Of course, with a runner at fucking second base.
Yeah, by
Which
putting
it
a
takes
runner
it takes away from the fucking game.
It does.
It takes away from it.
Especially a game like that.
Yep.
The Dodgers were up 7-1. The Padres came back. It was a great game, and then you end up ending it because you put a runner on second and extra. Like, come on, man! It's so brutal.
You cannot do that in the playoffs. I don't know what their ruling
It's
is either way on the
brutal.
playoffs.
You can't
but
do that in the
you
playoffs.
Cannot
I don't.
do something
I don't
like that
think
in
they
the
are
playoffs.
doing it in the playoffs. I think
I would
they're-
hope not.
I
you can't.
fucking hope not.
When it comes to the playoffs,
Don't fuck
I
with it.
understand people bitch about how long the games are,
Right.
but the continuous extra
gotta
innings
go.
is the only way to go.
100%.
The continuous overtime in the NHL playoffs,
Go.
Yes.
all of that, period. You play until the game's been decided.
You play to win the game.
And I'll give credit, love him or hate him, Trevor Bauer. I'll give him credit for what he said during this series about Tatis. He goes, he should celebrate. Absolutely, he should celebrate.
I
if you don't like it,
love it.
throw a better pitch.
Something, and that's what I was getting
It was
to.
refreshing.
It's a young team. They're going to start celebrating
Yeah.
stuff. Tatis, he did the whole one eye thing right
Oh, yeah.
back to Bauer.
It was
after-
great.
I have no problem with any of that shit. Let these kids develop this kind of stuff in the game.
I fucking dig it. And he took it like a man. He goes, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I should have thrown a better pitch.
Exactly.
He hit it.
Listen, why
Cool.
why has it always been that Major League Baseball players can't have personalities?
It
I
bothers the
fucking
shit
I
out of
fucking
me.
hate it. Now short of like just standing there at home plate and literally just watching your fucking home run sail out before you even like start. It finally hits, a fan catches it, and then you go, "Oh, I'm gonna run now." Short of that, let them celebrate. They hit a home run. They did something
You want
remarkable
a bat
in a game.
Flip your fucking bat.
100%.
Right. You
But the thing that it does too, and I know I'm a fan of the old school way of playing baseball. Let them celebrate. Let them do the one eye thing.
Yeah.
Then if Bauer's got a problem with it, the next time up, let him buzz him across the head.
Yep.
Let him throw real close. Then you start getting things that heat up. Then you get a little bit of physicality that goes, and the game becomes more interesting.
Yep.
But even Bauer said, why should it be that if a player celebrates hitting a home run off you, you gotta
beat him next.
you gotta hit the next
You
guy.
don't have to. But I'm saying if you have a
What?
problem with it, that option's there. If not, let's all move the fuck on because the only guy who's really got anything to say about it's the one who just threw the ball.
Well, and how many times have you seen pitchers celebrate on the mound by getting a strikeout?
Oh, yeah,
How many times do they
you
pump
know,
their fists and
yeah.
they get all wild? All right, well, why is that okay, but it's not okay? Because every pitcher batter duel is a win lose situation for each guy. That's the way it is. It's a win lose, man. If you make it onto a base, you win. If you end up out, you lose. And the pitcher wins or loses on whether you make it to a base or you're out. Every time, it's a win lose situation. Why can't each player celebrate when that happens.
Right.
You either win or you lose.
The whole grind my gears. You guys had your grind my gears for this week. I guess what mine is? The MLB doubling down on Castellanos' suspension. Yes, the MLB doubling down on Castellanos' suspension.
Right, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Like, come on.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
There's nothing wrong with what he did.
No,
he got
I agree.
up. He got into a collision with, quite frankly, one of the best catchers to ever play the
Yeah.
game. And he got up and he was jacked. Who cares?
Yeah. And
He didn't even punch him.
Nope.
He didn't do anything.
Nope. He was just kind of in his face and he flexed.
You are literally taking the personality out of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Let players celebrate when they win.
Yep.
And each game has multiple wins. It's not just whether you win the game or not. Every game has multiple win and lose situations in it. That's what's unique about baseball.
You want to do that when you're down 10-0? That's a different story.
Yeah, that's like Roy Williams giving the first down fucking
Right.
sign when they're down
Yeah.
38-3.
I still
Yeah.
defend that because that was like a touchdown for Lions.
Fair enough.
That first down, man. Sometimes 10 yards was harder to get than a
That's
score.
right. Well, I'm glad we kind of transitioned into football talk because I think it's time for Draft-a-Palooza.
Yes.
I like it. Nicely done. Nice.
Yes, the NFL
The
draft.
NFL draft.
The NFL draft. And what I'm going to do here, folks, is I'm going to throw up on the screen here. I'm going to throw up my draft on the screen. I'm going to do my mock draft as we go along, and you can visually look at it and see it as we do it. And we're going to go team by team. And we're going to give our thoughts on each pick for the first round. And I think this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy this. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yes.
And let's start it out with the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock.
The least surprising pick of the NFL draft.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to make my selection on the draft board here for everybody to see. And I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville.
I think
as a number one
I
overall
think it's
pick.
going to be beat all three from us.
Is that going to be a unanimous?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
that's gonna
unanimous.
across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, that's unanimous across the board. And next up
Good.
is the New York Jets. New York Jets are on the-
Jets.
The New York Jets are on the clock, and I'm going to let one of you guys take this one. I think we're all going to be unanimous on this one again, but we'll see.
I think they are going for Zach Wilson. I think that's an absolute mistake because I think he's going to be an absolute bust.
I agree with you on the Zach Wilson. I think they're taking him. I don't think anybody thinks they're not taking him at this point. Maybe a couple people.
I was going to
doubt
say,
it.
it seems like he's the consensus.
Yeah,
number two.
seems like he's the guy. I've come around on Zach Wilson a little bit. I hate when people say I watched the tape. Okay, I'm not a fucking scout.
Right.
I've seen some things of some footage of his games and things. I've seen his workouts. I've seen his throws. I'm a little more sold on him than I was because you and I were both in lockstep for quite a while. I thought he was going to be a bust. I'm a little more sold on him, other than just the fact that it's the background a little bit that gets me. He's lived a privileged background. He's kind of a spoiled kid. That's
Nobody
the one
came
that
to his birthday party.
yeah, nobody
Heard this
nobody
story
came to his
before.
birthday party. That's what I'm not sold on. I know he can make the throws. I've seen it. It's a matter of the attitude.
Exactly.
And that's maybe why I'm not sold on him still.
That's fair. I dig it.
So, yeah. All right.
Next
up is the San Francisco 49ers are on the clock at number 3. This one, I think we're all going to vary a little bit on. This is where the draft kind of gets interesting.
I was going to say, I think him and I might be in lockstep on this based on our conversation earlier, but you had a little something different. So if we're starting off with me, I'm going to keep it simple, Mac Jones. From the moment San Francisco traded up to that number 3 spot, this is the name that I've heard them going for.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but this is the name I've heard.
This one that's the unanimous name that has kind of come up since they traded up to that spot. It is. It's the one that's come up more often than not.
And I mean, Fields had the pro day with San Francisco and everything that happened there, but this is still the name that keeps popping up.
Right.
Yep.
Chris?
No, good.
Oh, all right. I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a surprise here. I believe, from what I've heard recently, and this is me reading into things, I believe Trey Lance is the guy. I believe they are sold on Trey Lance. I believe he's really the reason why they traded up. Shanahan, it's come out that Shanahan is more of a Jones guy. But it's also come out that pretty much everybody else in the organization is a Trey Lance guy. And I believe in this situation, the rest of the organization wins out over Shanahan. I believe they go Trey Lance.
Didn't Shanahan's old man have a similar situation a few years back?
In Washington?
RG3 and Kirk Cousins all of a sudden.
I think they're going to split the difference, and I think they're going to go Justin Fields.
Wow. All right.
I think that pro day, having him throw in that manner, like that says a lot.
Yeah, I think
I just haven't heard that change the
I
conversation.
think they're ultimately going to split the difference and go with Justin Fields.
It's entirely possible.
It is. I mean, listen, I think that's where the draft gets interesting.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
the first two picks are pretty much locks.
Yep.
From what everybody's been told and heard, I think this is where the draft gets interesting. Is at San Francisco at 3. Next up is Atlanta at number 4, and I'll let one of you guys start this one off.
Fred, go ahead.
I'm along the thought lines of if Atlanta is picking here, which I see this as a prime spot to trade for. If somebody wants one of these quarterbacks, that's
I
perfect
actually
spot to move to.
I agree with you. If at this point somebody likes one of the other 2 quarterbacks that are left after the first 3 are gone, this is a prime spot for trading. And I think
especially because Atlanta's not going quarterback. Cincy's not going quarterback. Miami's not going.
Atlanta could surprise and go quarterback, but I doubt it. There's been mocks that have them taking one, but I truly doubt it. I'm with you there.
I don't see it happening.
I think this could be a prime trading spot for all intents and purposes. Here, we're going to go with just the draft the way it is, but I agree with you. This could be a spot where somebody trades up and wants their guy.
If they do pick here, though, I think Pitts is the easy choice.
I'm with you on that one.
I 100% agree with that.
Yep.
It's one of their major needs is tight end.
And he's the most talented out of the skill positions.
By far, in my opinion.
And especially if they're kind of thinking about trading Julio Jones.
Yes.
Yeah, after that conversation started up, that really does change things.
In which they are. There are talks that teams are inquiring about trading for Julio Jones. The only problem is Atlanta can't trade him until after the June 1st deadline.
Yeah, because they'll save themselves like $7 million.
Yeah, I think it's even more than that. I think it's like $15 million. His dead cap space, if they trade him before that, is insane.
Yeah.
So they won't be trading him at the draft, but they are fielding phone calls for trading him.
If they get his replacement,
if they can draft his replacement right now, then it's easier to trade him down the line.
And that's one
after
thing
June 1st.
Atlanta's been great at doing with their wide receivers. They had Roddy, they brought in Julio, allowed Julio to become the guy. Calvin Ridley came in when Julio was the guy. Ridley's built himself up.
Yep.
Now it's time to give him an opportunity to be the number 1, with Pitts being there as your second.
Yep, I agree. Next up, it is the Cincinnati Bengals at number 5.
I think they go Penei Sewell. They need somebody to protect Joe Burrow.
Yes.
They absolutely need somebody to protect Joe Burrow, and now his destroyed fucking knee.
They desperate. Well, and that's why he got hurt last year. Let's be
I
honest.
know.
I mean, that offensive line was brutal.
Yeah,
and they need to shore up that offensive line. I'm going to agree with you here. I believe they go Penei Sewell. It's very tempting for them to go Jamar Chase because
give him some weapons. I get it.
Put it and it was Burrow's weapon when he was at LSU.
Yep, it makes sense.
You've got that predetermined chemistry already.
It's very tempting, but I believe the brain wins out on this one, I believe they go Penei Sewell.
Yep.
To help protect Joe Burrow, their investment from last year. I truly believe that.
I think if you're looking at Burrow as a true investment, then what you guys have said has to stand. You have to protect him.
Yep. Yeah.
So make that a clean sweep for Sewell.
All right. We're going to move on. The Miami Dolphins, number 6.
Another interesting spot.
Very interesting because it kind of all depends, in my opinion, on what Cincinnati does. I believe if Cincinnati doesn't go Penei Sewell and they go Jamar Chase or possibly even Jalen Waddle or something else there,
And there was also talks of them possibly going with Slater because they thought he was the better of the two tackles.
Better, yes, which some people do. I personally don't. I believe Sewell is kind of a few steps ahead of Slater, but there are some teams and some people who believe Slater is right up there, or if not better. But in this position, I personally believe that Miami will, instead of doing what Cincinnati's doing, and they're shoring up their offensive line to protect their quarterback, I believe Miami will try to get weapons for their quarterback, because their quarterback was not bad last year, but didn't have the best yards per pass attempt, didn't get the ball down the field a lot. They want more weapons for him. I believe they go Ja'Marr Chase.
I'm in agreement with you on that. They definitely, like, for basically the reasons you just said. They need Tua needs some weapons to throw to. So I think that's, yeah, you obviously want to get some linemen to protect your guy, but you also have to have people to fucking throw the ball to. So
yes.
I think that's the route they go. I definitely think they take Ja'Marr Chase.
And I believe they believe, which I've looked at this draft, and you guys know I study the draft a lot, way more than an average person should.
Right.
There are some offensive linemen you can get in second and third round that will be able to fill in. Now, there are wide receivers you can get second, third round as well, but I think they're looking at the talent level of Ja'Marr Chase is just a little too much to pass up here. They're not going to wait to get that wide receiver. I believe they think the depth between Ja'Marr Chase and the other wide receivers is greater than between Slater and the other offensive linemen, so they're going to go wide receiver here, in my opinion.
So this is one of the spots I've been torn on. I do agree with you guys completely. Ja'Marr Chase is the obvious choice right here. The thing that I can't get out of my head, though, is the pairing of Tua with one of his two guys from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those two guys, I feel like Waddle's going to be the better of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually put Waddle in this position.
Okay.
Gotcha.
No,
okay.
Nice.
I could see that happening. I have a different scenario of those two down the road, which we'll get to.
Okay.
And next up is your Detroit Lions. And I think, Frank, we're going to let you lead this one
Frankie,
off.
it's all you, buddy.
This one is you.
So where we are at right now with the Lions, and we discussed this earlier, and with the draft sticking just as the numbers are right now.
Yes.
Obviously, I am a firm believer they're going to trade out of this spot. But if you are picking at number 7, with the way that my draft has been structured, the guy I've been saying all along, Micah Parsons. Do I think he's the number 7 pick in the draft? No. There's other talented players that could go there. I think the smart thing is moving back, getting more capital, and then drafting him at a later position. But that's who I think the Lions are going to end up with.
All right. That would be on a smarter side. I personally think Micah Parsons is a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would not be a bad pick for them there. I think the better way to do it is to trade down. You can't always trade down.
Right.
I think if you decide to take Parsons there, I don't hate it. I think he's a difference maker. A little bit of an attitude problem, which is why he might slide down the draft, which is why I have him sliding. But he's a difference maker. I think we've all discussed that at one point. Chris?
Obviously, without trading out of the pick, Frank, I'm in lockstep with you. Micah Parsons, I think, is the guy you take.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're gonna go completely off the board, and I think they're gonna take Trey Lance.
Wow.
I do.
Wow. So you have Trey Lance going to the Lions.
Yes.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised too.
I did not see that coming.
I heard somebody out there go, "Wow."
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with a dog.
Right. Yeah, I think I do. I think they're gonna go Lions.
I don't even know how I feel with that.
They're gonna go Lions, and they're gonna be in because even early draft talk they were talking about going after Fields.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that was smokescreen. I think that was smokescreen trying to get a trade.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I think if Trey Lance is available, I think they kind of go outside the box and take him.
So
do you think they take him with the anticipation that Goff's gone after next season?
Yes.
Not this upcoming season, but the following one,
yes.
And then you let Trey take over?
Yep.
Okay.
So I think both those scenarios are smart in my opinion. I think you're perfectly fine taking Micah Parsons. I think he's a difference maker. I think I'm a huge Trey Lance guy. We've
I know.
discussed
Yeah,
this for a while.
absolutely.
I think that's a brilliant move, drafting Trey Lance. You can let him sit for a little bit, let Goff play, maybe even get him a little time at the end of the year, and then you don't have to make that decision that Goff is your guy, and you're not pressured to play Trey Lance because everyone knows he's a little raw. Let him develop.
Right.
But those two things are smart.
I know, but like we've said, some of the, like a lot of the moves, like this regime has made.
This regime has been
They've
on
done
the smarter side.
Besides their buffoon of a fucking head coach,
who is just a jackass.
I'm sorry, he's a fucking buffoon.
But he is.
But the rest of this organization seems to have their shit together.
Seems smart.
finally for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
So I'm saying they might actually, like we said, do the smart thing for a fucking change.
They might.
But one thing, and this is a little bit of a debate, I guess, to that statement. Is the smart thing picking a quarterback for 2 years down the road, or is the smart thing picking a guy who can make a difference right now?
The former, or I think the former. Honestly,
I
building for the future.
Yes.
See, I don't think either one. I don't think either answer is wrong, though.
Right.
No,
because,
I don't
and that's
either.
why I say, like,
But if I had to
almost
pick
as
one,
a debate,
yeah.
not an argument. Like,
if I had to pick one, I'd say
Yeah.
build for the future.
I would say build for the future.
Yeah.
I would lean that way, but I still have a hard time saying Micah Parsons isn't also building for the future.
It might be.
You know what I mean? Because I believe that could be your guy on defense for 10 years.
Right. But if you really
And
want to build for your future,
You draft your starting quarterback.
or you draft a fucking stud lineman, offensive
Right.
lineman.
which is what I had hoped.
Which is where I'm going.
Yes.
Again, on the smarter side, which I just keep saying that because you guys, I kind of let it up to where you thought I might go the not smart route or the
Right.
imbecile route.
Right.
There was a brief moment where I was thinking you were going to say Devontae Smith.
No, I'm actually going to go with Rashawn Slater.
Okay.
I
would love
believe
it.
that they want to take an offensive lineman. I believe they really want Penei Sewell, and he doesn't fall to them in my draft. And I believe that they take Rashawn Slater there, which to me is not a bad move. You have him play the other tackle away from your Decker, which you just signed for like 7 years.
But you moved him to the right and paid him the salary for a right tackle. So do you trust this kid to come in and jump in on the left?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. I would say he's a very talented offensive tackle. I
Okay.
believe he could come in there. Wait, wasn't Decker playing left tackle?
At Ohio State, he was. There
Okay.
were brief moments where I don't remember who the standard left tackle was, but there were moments where he was playing on the left side.
'Cause
But
the
where they have him set right now, he's supposed to be set as the right tackle.
Well, the money they're paying him, he needs to be a left tackle. But I believe
I mean,
this.
that could be the move that's coming.
They could. I believe this is the move that they make with the way my draft board falls out. With that being said, they might go the unsmart route. They might take Devontae Smith. They might take Jalen Waddle. They might take another fucking cornerback.
Oh, there's
Who
one
knows?
out there.
I don't hate the Surtain pick, but
Oh,
you can't take it at 7. You have to trade back, get cap. Like, if you're going to take him in the 15 later area, I got no problem with it.
I tell you what, they take another corner at 7 overall when you took a corner last year.
I
at
need it
3
to
overall.
happen. I need it.
I'm not going to lie. I would be ecstatic
Oh,
if
yeah,
that
absolutely.
happened. But that's my hatred for the Lions.
Yes.
So moving on.
Yep.
Let's see. The Carolina Panthers are up next. And what do you guys want to do? You want me to lead it off?
I'll
You want
do
to take it?
I'll go. I think Devontae Smith finally does go, since they got a shiny new toy at quarterback. Of course, you want to get them some weapons. So I think they're going to absolutely go after one of the 2 Alabama receivers. I think it's going to be Smith. So that's where I think they're going to go with that.
All right. Frank, you want me to go?
To be honest with you, mine's going to be a real quick one.
Yeah.
I see what Carolina needs, and I see what I think they should do. And there goes Justin Fields off the board.
Ooh.
Wow.
Even though after trading for Sam Darnold? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
All right.
I think they move on from Bridgewater. They go ahead and let the kid back up
Yeah.
a couple years, and then you see what you've got out of either one of them.
Fair enough.
I think they go kind of off board here.
Okay.
I have them taking J.C. Horn out of South Carolina.
Wow. You have him as the first corner going?
Yes.
Wow.
I believe they take the hometown boy. who has moved up draft boards in recent weeks. He's more along the lines of like a top teen-ish player, but I believe they go off board here a little bit and kind of surprise and go J.C. Horn, the local kid, staying in Carolina.
Okay.
That is my pick
I dig it.
for them. And next up,
The Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
And see, a lot of these are so good because they have needs that you just don't know where they're going to go.
Right.
And this draft actually has a lot of talent in it.
Yeah, it does.
In many different areas.
And Denver's a team that really does interest me because they are one of these teams that you're mentioning. Like, there's no clear-cut direction for them to go.
No. And I'll lead this one off if you want.
Okay.
This is where I personally have Justin Fields coming off the board. I believe Fields gets drafted by them because they're not sold on Drew Lock.
Okay.
This is where I have him going.
I have them taking Mac Jones.
Okay, along the same lines.
Yep, kind of the same.
Along the
thought
same
process.
lines.
Yep.
They're not sold on Drew Lock, and I don't think that's a secret. They could go in a different direction here. There's a lot of talented players on the board still.
Yep.
In all of our drafts.
All right.
But I personally have them take a quarterback. Chris, you do just a different quarterback.
Yep.
I actually have them taking Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I feel like at 9 and their needs, he's too good to pass up at that point.
Oh God, yeah. Listen, if he falls to 9, that's insane.
Oh, absolutely.
That's an insane pick.
But I'm just looking at the way
Yeah.
I have teams picking.
Yeah.
And if he can manage to slip, if Miami does not take him and goes the Waddle direction, then I could see Chase going there.
Okay.
If they do, I could see the flip happening.
I like it. Next up is the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys.
And this one is an easy one for me because I believe Dallas has keyed in on several players. I'm going to go Patrick Surtain.
Same here.
Here.
That defense is an absolute abomination. Sweep.
Yeah, and they've kind of they've kind of keyed in on several players. If they don't trade up for one of those players, which is Pitts, I believe here at 10, you're going to see Surtain go to Dallas.
The other thing I wouldn't be surprised, which I was reading earlier, was seeing them possibly move up for one of the offensive tackles.
Okay.
That
All
is
right.
one thing I was reading.
To retool that offensive line.
Yeah.
They could even get another offensive lineman here at 10. Not quite one of those two guys, but there is a couple more that will go here pretty soon, at least in my draft. And they could pick one here. I personally think if they stick with 10 and Surtain's there, I think they take him. But that is another possibility. They could go on offensive lineman. All right. Next up is the second of 3 picks of the NFC East, and it is the Giants.
I got them going with Rashawn Slater. That offensive line is a dumpster fire, and Danny Dime, whatever the fuck his name is, was running for his life like this entire fucking season. He even tripped.
Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes, whatever the fuck his name is.
He tripped over a yard
He
marker.
tripped over a yard marker, man. So they need all the help they can get on that offensive line. So I think they go Rashawn Slater.
You have more faith in them doing something smart than I do.
You know what? I can't knock as much as that organization lately has just been complete buffoonery.
Yeah.
It's hard to hold that against them when they have 4 Super Bowl fucking titles.
Yes,
You know?
but
and 2 of them against the New England Patriots in years
Yes.
they shouldn't have beat them.
but I look at decisions that have been made in recent years,
Oh, it's
and it's back alley abortion.
that's not good.
It's bad.
That's not good. But I do have faith in an organization that has 4 Super Bowl titles behind them to fix it.
See, I don't right
That-
now.
then that's fair.
I was going to
I've
say,
just-
you're putting a lot of faith in the Mara family.
I've seen the decisions recently, and I just don't see that. That would be a smart pick for me, is to go an offensive lineman route. Now, in my draft, I don't have one of those 2 guys available.
Right.
There is another guy that I see going in the next 5 picks, but not to them. Frank, you want to take your pick for the Giants?
Yeah. If there's a team that I could not possibly care less about, it's the New York Giants. So I'm literally just going off of what a bunch of mock drafts have said.
Yeah.
And they've got Kitty Payne going there.
Quiddy Pay?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's been one of the teams I know that they've got has taken Quiddy Pay.
Quiddy Pay, Kitty Pay, whatever the fuck his name is.
Again, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, Kitty Pay. I'm gonna look.
Kid and Play?
Kid and Play. I'm gonna look for them to make the wrong decision here on two receivers that are left on my board, and I believe they go the wrong route, and I believe they go with Devonta Smith.
Okay.
For me, there's Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith left in the wide receiver category right now, on the higher end of the picks, and I believe they make the wrong decision, which leads me to the next pick. The Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe they take Jalen Waddle, the better of the two receivers.
Again, you're counting on the Eagles to do something right here.
Yes, but I believe they're so starved for a wide receiver that I think they will take either one of these guys. I really do. So I'm not saying they make the smart decision because the Giants made it for them.
Yeah.
I believe either one of these wide receivers is going to get taken by the Eagles. They're starved to get a wide receiver that can be a number one. They're starved for that. They've tried to draft that guy many years now, and I believe they finally think they get it with one of these guys.
I had trouble deciding between if they were going to take a corner or if they were going to take a wide receiver, but I do think they're going to go the wide receiver out. I think they're going to take Jalen Waddle.
So we're in agreement.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Did you even pick?
For New York?
No, for the Eagles.
Oh, for the Eagles. I didn't even know we were moving on from the Eagles. I was reading this stuff. That's why I was like, for New York? Yeah, I told you. Fucking, what's his name? I couldn't care less about.
What? It's fucking funny.
I think you're at this point with the Eagles where my board's falling.
That was such a good segue on my part to the Eagles pick that
was.
he didn't even realize
he didn't
it
even
happened.
Get it, man.
Man,
I'm sorry, guys.
Chris, you are teaching me your segues. That I have now learned.
I dig it.
Segue mastership.
Nice.
So,
But anyway, Frank, sorry.
Yeah.
sorry,
buddy.
For the Eagles,
Eagles.
the way my board's working out and what I see the Eagles needing, Trey Lance falls right into their laps.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Even with Jalen Hurts there.
Even with Jalen Hurts there.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Next up is the Chargers.
J.C. Horn.
JC, okay.
I think,
all right.
Yep. I think they need to shore up that defense. Because, I mean, there was so many games last year where if they just had like a semblance of defense, they would have won. They would have won. I think they want to shore it up. So I think they're going to go defense, and I think J.C. Horn's the guy.
I agree 100%.
That's I can see them going in several directions here. Cornerback is a need for them. I just believe that they have a bigger need.
Okay.
And that is protecting their Rookie of the Year quarterback.
Yep.
And I believe they go with Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I believe that's their pick here. I think it's a necessity that they protect him. He was running for his life last year. You saw what he did even though he was running for his life. I think they go offensive line here, and if Darrisaw is there, I believe they take him.
Yeah.
He's the next best offensive lineman on the board. He's a tackle, and that's where I think they go with that one.
Nice.
Next up is the Minnesota Vikings.
I'll start this one off.
Okay.
Mainly because this guy's been gone on both of your boards now for quite a few picks. But Rashawn Slater is still sitting there on mine.
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota very much could use the offensive tackle.
Right.
So that is where I'm going with Minnesota's pick.
I'm going to go Elijah Vera Tucker.
Okay. Yes, they do need an lineman. They need a tackle. They need an interior lineman. They kind of need to shore up that offensive line.
Yeah.
They also need an edge rusher. And right here is where I actually have Kwity Paye going. I believe Minnesota takes the leap on Kwity Paye. I personally, and I know you guys don't either, I don't see what everybody sees in Kwity Paye. I just didn't see it on the football field.
Nope.
Now, is he athletic? Does he have the talent? Maybe. I haven't seen it translate on the football field. But I believe he goes here because, I mean, I guess NFL scouts know more than we do.
Well, yeah, they get paid for that, so yeah.
Yeah. So I believe Kwity Paye goes here to Minnesota.
All right.
Next up is the New England Patriots at number 15.
Yeah.
Frank, you want to start this one off?
Yeah, with the 15th pick, I have the New England Patriots selecting Devontae Smith out of Alabama.
Oh, wow.
Have them going a wide receiver route.
Yes,
right.
I think
I
as far
see
as
ya.
glaring needs, and it's not just the fact that they need a wide receiver. I also think that draft day trade where they pick up Jimmy Garoppolo goes through, and they want to give him a weapon. So that's where my logic's at with giving them a wide receiver.
Nice. I dig it.
You got dogfights going on.
Dog. Yes.
Wow, a little yapper out
Yeah,
there.
no doubt.
Chris, you want to go next? Or you want me
No,
to?
go ahead.
All right. So I see they have some needs, right? And their most glaring needs are quarterback, linebacker, and wide receiver. Frank, you hit one of those. Devonta Smith at that point in your draft would make sense for them.
And that's also assuming that they pick at 15.
Right. Right. That's assuming they pick at 15 and they don't trade up or anything like that. I'm about ready to just shut that window.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we can get it shut, because I thought maybe that dog might stop at one point, but no. So anyway,
That is a very little dog with a German Shepherd.
right here I have New England taking Mac Jones.
Okay.
He's still on my board here on my board because of all the picks that I've made. I believe New England, if they're there at 15 and Mac Jones is there, I believe they take him and try to move past the experiments with Cam Newton that they've had after Tom Brady. I believe they try and fill the role of starting quarterback after Tom Brady.
I believe this is where they do take Micah Parsons.
That would make sense.
I think this is where he finally comes off the board.
That would make sense if he's still on your board here. That would also make sense. So we all three filled one of their needs, right? So that their main needs are quarterback, wide receiver, and linebacker.
Yep.
And each one of us took a player to fit those needs, which makes sense in every sense of the word, depending on how your draft plays out.
Yep.
Right.
So next. The Cardinals are on the clock at number 16.
Yeah. I think they're going to go defense in this round.
I think they need to.
I think they're going to go with Greg Newsome out of Northwestern as quarterback.
That makes perfect sense. Corner is one of their bigger needs. They just lost Patrick Peterson.
Yep.
And I think defense mainly is one of their bigger needs. They also need an interior lineman and possibly a wide receiver because the wide receivers they've taken haven't really truly stepped up opposite DeAndre Hopkins, who they traded for a bag of chips.
Yeah.
So I think that pick makes perfect sense, actually. It makes all the sense in the world. Frank?
I'm sticking at corner, but I'm going with a different body. I got Caleb Farley.
Frank, I agree with you.
Hey,
That's who I have going here. It's the same position. I just think they go Caleb Farley. He is dropping down draft boards a little bit. Something about a back issue that teams are a little questionable about. But I believe right now at 16 overall, I think it's a good place to roll the dice on him. He's a good enough cornerback. They need a corner. I don't think they could go wrong with taking Newsome either, but I believe they take Farley since he's on the board, and that's who I believe they take. Next up,
The Las Vegas Raiders.
the Raiders. Frank, we're going to let you lead this one off.
All right.
I have a very special guy going here for you on my draft board, but you can go first.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at the team needs: interior defensive line, linebacker, safety, interior offensive line. There's a lot of things they do need, but nothing sticks out as much as the offensive tackle position. So I have Christian Darrisaw going to them.
Okay.
At
That
17.
is 100% true. They need a tackle. They need a D lineman, interior D lineman really, linebacker. But that pick does make sense for them. There are a lot of mock drafts that have them taking an offensive lineman here. Chris?
I'm actually in agreement with Frank on this one. I think they're definitely going to try to shore up that offensive line, and I think that's going to be the pick.
Okay. And who did you say again?
I went with Christian Darrisaw.
Okay. All right. See, on my board, he's not available, but Elijah Vera Tucker is.
Yep.
But he's an interior offensive lineman. Tevin Jenkins would fit the role here as well, which are players that I kind of tossed around them taking. But I believe looking at my board, I think they'd be crazy not to take the guy that's available on my board and is off the board for you guys, and that's Micah Parsons. I believe this is where Micah Parsons goes. And
6
Frank,
to midnight.
if that happens, I know you will be blowing up
Oh yeah, literally
the group chat, which
This jersey will be a Micah Parsons one in a few short weeks.
yes, not that we won't be blowing up the group chat anyway, but I believe that if that happens, you would be ecstatic, and I can't blame you. I think that's a great pick for them if he falls to them.
Not that it matters that I'm telling you guys this on the show or anything, but I also found out I'm on a 3-week layoff from work, so I finally get to watch the NFL draft for the first time in years.
nice.
There you go. Well, I get to watch it again because last year I was laid off for COVID. This year I'm recovering from knee surgery,
Right.
so I'm just going to be lounging around watching the draft myself.
I'm so stoked for this.
Yep.
That's terrific.
That's terrific.
Chris is like, I am always off at night. And
Yeah, that's
I get
true,
to
yeah.
watch it.
Well, I mean,
You're so
I
funny,
would
guys.
have been off at night as well, but I'm just it's one of those
Now
things
you
where-
would have.
Yeah, no.
Previous life, you were in the bar business
Yeah.
where you definitely were
where
not
I
having
wasn't
nights free.
I was putting it on in the bar for the customers to watch.
Yeah, right.
All right. Next up is the Miami Dolphins' second first-round pick at number 18.
This is where I think Kwity Paye goes. This is where I have Kwity Paye going.
It fills a need.
Yes.
It does. That fills a need for them. Let's see. The Dolphins, for me, address the number one need for them at wide receiver with their first round pick.
Right.
Some of the other needs they have: linebacker, wide receiver, safety, edge, and you hit the edge with Kwity Paye.
Yep.
Frank.
I'm actually going to go just down the road from the Miami Dolphins and give them one of Chris's players, Jalen Phillips.
Okay.
That would make sense. Again,
Yeah,
edge.
edge
It
rusher.
fills that edge rusher need. I'm going along the lines of, if you guys remember, with their first round pick at number 6 overall, I said they're going to try to give weapons to Tua and try to help him succeed. I believe that translates into them taking Najee Harris with their second first round pick, and they took Jamar Chase with their first.
Yep.
So they're just going to fill weapons around Tua.
Yeah, right.
That's what I believe they're going to do. They very well could fill other needs, which both your picks make a lot of sense for them to do. In my draft, that's the way I have it planned.
Fair
out.
enough.
Next up, the Washington
Yeah.
the team in Washington.
Yeah. Yep.
That football team in Washington. So their needs.
Yep.
I gotta find where they actually put them on here. I guess the last. So their needs basically are linebacker, cornerback, safety,
Yeah.
offensive line, offensive tackle mainly. They have some secondary needs: wide receiver, interior offensive line.
I have them going linebacker.
Okay,
I have them going with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Notre Dame.
out of Notre Dame.
Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's one of their main needs right here.
Yeah, where I have Washington going with my board, Tevin Jenkins is still available. They need offensive tackle. I'm not going to say badly, but pretty bad. So I'm going to give them an offensive tackle here.
Frank, this is another time that you and I are in perfect
I was
lockstep.
going to say we are really just in sync on this one.
On a few of these picks, we are, because that's where I have them going. I think it's a possibility they go Vera Tucker if he's there, and he is still there on my board. But I believe Tevin Jenkins at the offensive tackle position instead of the interior offensive line makes a little more sense for them there. I believe they do go Tevin Jenkins. That's who I have them taking. So we're in lockstep on several of them.
I was going to say I don't mind that. If I'm going to be in lockstep with somebody, it better be the Rain Man of the NFL draft, right?
Jeez. Next up is the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
The Bears.
Now,
The Bears.
I have them taking the same guy, only a pick later. I have them taking Tevin Jenkins.
Okay. That would make sense for them. They do need an offensive tackle.
Yes.
Some of the other needs for them are corner, wide receiver, quarterback. So with that being said, Frank, where do you have them? So you have them taking Tevin Jenkins?
Yes.
And which would make sense if he falls to them. For sure.
So this is another weird one for me because I don't know that Chicago actually picks where they pick. So as far as my board being accurate with Chicago, I'm going to go ahead and give them Rashad Bateman just because I think they do need a receiver.
They do.
And where things are right now with my board, that makes the most sense for them.
I wouldn't be surprised at that pick, and I wouldn't be surprised at your pick, Chris, if he falls to them. I actually have them taking another need, which both of your picks filled one of their major needs. I have them taking a different one in Greg Newsome, because in my draft he falls at this point. I personally believe they go corner. Whoever falls to them, whether it's Fairley, Newsome, I believe they go corner in this situation, but they do have some other needs that are glaring, so they could go in any number of directions. Truthfully,
I really feel like that's a team though to look at to see maybe the 4 spot, maybe with Detroit, maybe with Denver even at number 9, depending on what falls.
It's very possible they trade up.
That's a team that moves up, I think, to get themselves in position for
very
a quarterback.
Depending on who falls and how far they fall, that's a team that very well could look to make a move and trade up to get a guy they want. Next up is the Indianapolis Colts, who, I'll be honest with you, man, there's several teams that I've taken a liking to a little bit and how they're built and how they're run. The Colts are one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I really truly like what they're doing the last couple of years, and they made a trade for a guy who I believe is going to have a bounce back year this year. I think he's going to have comeback player of the year in Carson Wentz. Chris, I know you don't like him.
Nope.
To me, we've talked about this several times before. I think he was just ruined in Philly, and I believe he's actually going to be able to stand out in Indianapolis. Time will tell. We'll see. But for their draft right now, who are they going to take?
I think they're going to take. This is where Jalen Phillips goes out of Miami.
Okay. And some of their needs, just to go over it, edge is one, interior defensive lineman, a tackle, cornerback, wide receiver. Some of their needs, edge rusher is one of those that's it's not as glaring as some other ones, but it is a need, and I could definitely see them taking him. He's talented enough.
This is where I have Newsome going.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yep,
that would make a lot of sense. Here, I actually have them taking. I see. This is the first one where I'm torn on it.
Right.
And I'm actually gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go against what I kind of did earlier. And I'm gonna lean. that they're gonna go Jalen Phillips, Chris.
Okay.
If he's there at this point, which on our boards he is. The other, full disclosure, I'll tell you, the other guy I had them taking was Jeremiah Owasu, whatever his name is, I don't know the name, to pair up with their other solid linebackers. But I think filling a need at edge rusher makes a lot of sense there, and I think that's the route they'll probably go.
Nice.
So I like that.
All
right. Next up.
Tennessee Titians.
Yes, the Tennessee Titians. Okay. You want me to run through some of their needs?
Sure.
For everybody? All right, so let me find them here. The Titans, their glaring needs are cornerback, wide receiver, and offensive tackle. Wide receiver, obviously, they lost Corey Davis. They do have A.J. Brown, who is a very talented receiver. But again, they need another guy to go opposite him. Cornerback, offensive tackle. Some of the other minor needs, maybe a linebacker, edge rusher, something like that.
Right.
I got them going with Elijah Moore.
I'm in lockstep with you on that, Frank. Absolutely. I think they go wide receiver.
I think he's
here.
best receiver available, and that's what they need the most.
Gotcha. That would fill a need for them, for sure. I believe they actually go with your boy out of Notre Dame. Jeremiah Owusu Zedawai.
Owusu. Not going to work here anymore anyway.
Yeah, that's who I have them taking there. And again, he's another one I was really torn whether Indianapolis was going to take him or not. But I have him going there since Indy passed on him.
Okay.
All right.
The New York Football Jets.
The Jets with their second first-round pick.
Yep. Frankie, Needs.
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 You want me to go with their needs?
Yes.
All right. The Jets' needs. Says quarterback. They already kind of addressed that. In my opinion, Frank, you had them draft a quarterback. I believe they're going with, God, what's his name? The guy.
What?
Sam Wilson.
Wilson. We all had them.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah, we all had them. I had a brain fart. What his name was?
I
We
kept
all-
going Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not Falcon. It's not Falcon.
Yeah, Sam Wilson. We all had them taking him with the second overall pick. So next, their next higher needs are corner, edge, running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman are kind of all things that they could go here. So with that being said,
I think they go Caleb Farley.
okay,
They fill
Would
that.
make
They fill that.
sense.
yeah,
need.
they fill that need.
Yep.
I have them taking Aziz Ojulari
What?
from Georgia.
Okay.
He's an edge rusher.
Okay.
I actually have them taking not really a need that they have here. I believe they take Trayvon Mooring out of TCU, the safety.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there's been a lot of mocks that have him going here. I believe he fills a little bit of a need, not necessarily a glaring one, but I believe this is where they take him. He's a very talented player. I think they take him here to try and get some help on that defense.
All right.
Next up, Pittsburgh at number 24.
So this one for me is rather interesting because I really have a gut feeling that this could be a team in a conversation to move up for.
I agree. I was just thinking that. I was absolutely thinking the
it's
same thing.
Not something that's been talked about a whole lot
Yeah.
by a whole lot of people.
I think they're going to want to get out of this pick.
but they definitely could be moving up to take a quarterback.
Yep.
They could also trade back just because, based on the looks of my board, and I'm sure your guys isn't looking all that much different at this point. What they need isn't necessarily available here.
I think they'll trade back. I think they'll try to trade back.
It would be smart.
However, that being said, if they don't, I think they take Najee Harris.
Okay. I have them taking Zaven Collins.
Yep.
That both those make sense. I believe you're right. I believe they look to trade up. I think they look to trade up because they need offensive line help. I think if they look to trade up for anybody, I believe they look to trade up for one of the offensive linemen we've already had drafted. They've lost quite a few of them in the offseason. If they are here, which I think we're all in agreement they could trade up or trade back. If they are here, I have them taking Elijah Vera Tucker at this point.
Okay.
He fills a glaring need for them on that offensive line where they've lost several key players in this offseason.
Right.
So next up is your Jacksonville Jaguars with their second first-round pick at number 25
Yes.
overall.
And I have Najee Harris going to them at number 25.
Wow, okay.
All right.
That would make sense if he was still available. On my board, he's not. But yes, if he's still there, I think that makes sense.
I have them taking Trayvon Mooring.
Safety.
Safety. That fills a need. He's a very talented player. I believe right here they take Rashad Bateman to give Trevor Lawrence the weapon that they think he's going to need. I believe they try and give him some weapons in these next few picks after they draft him. So I think with the second pick of the first round and in the second round, I think they try to get him some weapons and get him some help. Next up, my Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want me to lead this one off?
Absolutely.
All right.
I was actually going to argue just the opposite. Why don't we throw our picks out there?
Do it.
And then you take it from there.
Fair enough.
Do it.
Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Yep.
All right. I got them actually taking Christian Barrymore. I know they need an edge rusher, but defensive line, best available here. I'm sorry.
That hurt me worse than my knee hurts me right now after having surgery on Friday. Oh, that hurt.
I have them taking Greg Rousseau.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. On my board, I have several players they could take. They have a few glaring needs on defense, obviously. You both filled one of those. Christian Barmore, I believe he is more a product of players around him than really him being that talented. There's a couple guys here, Aziz Ojulari, Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa, Gregory Rousseau. I would love for them to take Gregory Rousseau. That's who I'm having them draft right now. He's still on my board. That's my pick for them. I would love for that to fucking
So I was hoping he would fall a little bit farther down, so my Bills could pick him up.
I know you are.
Just a couple more picks.
Right.
All right. Next up is the Baltimore Ravens.
This one's easy for me. They need people for Lamar to throw the ball to, whether it be inaccurate or not. They still need people for him to throw the freaking ball to. So I think they go Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU.
Gotcha.
So where I'm looking at with them at 27, I still have Trayvon Moehrig available. So I seeing them coming up again at 31. I think this one they might go defense, knowing that they can go offense a little bit later and get a better value.
All right.
I actually have them taking a wide receiver as well. I have them taking Kadarius Toney. Out of Florida. I believe they do need to give him weapons. I believe they believe that wholeheartedly. Even though they're a team that typically takes defense, I believe they go Kadarius Toney in this pick and give their boy some weapons.
They need him.
He needs some.
Yes,
he needs some help.
Yes, he fucking does.
Next up is the New Orleans Saints. And their needs, cornerback, wide receiver, edge rusher, linebacker, a couple of secondary ones, inside defensive line, interior defensive line, safety are some other ones.
I'm going to go ahead and give them Joe Tryon from Washington,
Gotcha.
which is an edge rusher.
I think they go Kadarius Toney.
Okay. All right.
Give whomever is playing quarterback for somebody to freaking throw to.
That makes sense. I believe this is where Barmore goes.
Okay.
They need interior defensive line as one of their needs. It's not as glaring of a need as some of the other ones, but I believe this is where they take Barmore here and try to give some of that defensive line and that defense some help. Next up is the Green Bay Packers.
This one for me, I think I go Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. That defense is a freaking. That defense is an abomination. It's terrible. They can't stop anybody.
That defense is not very good.
Nope.
That's where they had their major problems is stopping people.
They can't stop anybody.
They can win games on offense, but then go right back and lose them on defense. So I think they definitely need to do something.
We saw that in the fucking NFC Championship game.
Yeah, right?
Good Lord.
So this is where I have actually Elijah Vera Tucker going.
Okay.
I know this doesn't quite fill in anything you two just said, but
all right.
Interior offensive line, it's going to give Rodgers a little bit more protection. I think the real move they need to make is wide receiver. I'm not going to lie about that. But if we're here and we're going off of the board, Vera Tucker's who I got, and that definitely fills the need for them.
Well, Frank, you hit one for me where this is a possibility. They definitely could go wide receiver here.
I think
depending on who falls to them, who's still there, I believe they very well could go wide receiver here and go against what they normally do. They don't normally go first-round wide receivers. They could, depending on who's there.
Right.
Based on my board, I don't have them going wide receiver because most of the guys that they could take and would want to take are gone at this point.
Right.
Although I do still have Terrace Marshall there, he's not a bad player. I just don't think they're going to take him in the first. I believe they go on defense, and I believe they go Aziz Ojulari as an edge rusher for them to, again, Chris, to help that defense out.
Oh, absolutely,
because they just can't stop anybody. They need to get pressure on the opposing quarterback, and I think they go that route.
All right.
Next up are your Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Now, you want us to go the same route?
Yeah.
We make picks,
Absolutely.
and you can either get hurt by them or be upset by them.
Do it.
Frank, you want to lead this one off?
Yeah, quite simply for me, I'm going with Alex Leatherwood. I know offensive tackle isn't necessarily a position of need, but when you have somebody that's available at that spot, you kind of make an exception.
Right.
And I think where he's at, the value is too much to pass up. But at the same time, they very well may trade out of that spot.
Yep.
They could. They very well could. Their main needs are running back, wide receiver, edge rusher, cornerback. Those are the main needs. They also need an interior defensive lineman,
Yep.
tight end, and maybe another corner if they can get one here and get another one in the second. But where I have them going is down the board a little bit. And this is going to be a little bit of a surprise. I have them going Travis Etienne. I believe they really want a running back. They've tried the last several drafts. They've tried on Singletary. They've tried on Zach Moss.
Yep.
Word is that the Buffalo Bills have somewhat fallen in love with Travis Etienne. And I believe there's even a possibility they could trade up to try to get him if they think somebody's going to take him. This is where I believe they get their starting running back to help that offense out a little bit.
He went New York on us again.
Yeah, he did.
Did I?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
I don't think the Bills pick here at all. I think they trade out of this pick, whether it be up or down. I don't think they pick here. That being said, being as we're doing the draft the way we're doing it, I believe they take Azeez Ojulari. So I think it's
Which would make sense.
yeah, because he can play linebacker, he can play defensive end. I think it'd be a smart pick for them to go that route. I was kind of torn between that and the Etienne pick,
Yeah.
but I think
I'm not going to lie, Etienne was the one I was deciding between. Also.
right, but you saw
Just because it's value, need,
right,
all of it's there.
Like you kind of saw Buffalo's defense last year. They couldn't put enough pressure on the quarterback.
Nope, they couldn't.
And I think it's more of a need than getting a running back at the position. Except the running game is basically freaking screen passes. Like that's what it is.
The running back is screen passes and their quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
But I believe that my personal belief is they want to go away from that.
No, I agree with
They
you.
want to try to protect Josh Allen a little bit more than
Right.
they're letting him take too many hits.
Right.
And listen, if Ojulari's there, that's great value.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I actually he's one of the guys that I would like to be there for Cleveland to decide between.
Right.
I think his game is amazing.
But I also think if you can trade down, you can get both.
You could.
You know
you
what I'm
could.
saying?
You very well could. I believe Buffalo tries to get out of this pick.
Yep.
Same as I believe Cleveland will try a little bit. It's all about having a trade partner to do
100%.
that. So, next. At 31 overall is Baltimore again.
Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida.
I'm telling you, I just got to say this right now because I didn't bring it up when I had him drafted in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I love his game.
He's talented.
I think he's going to be one of the better wide receivers that comes out of this draft. In a year or two, you're going to look back on this and go, he was a guy that teams missed out on.
Okay.
The teams that took other wide receivers, I think he's going to be up there as one of the guys that really pans out. I like his game a lot.
Nice.
So with Baltimore, some
Yeah.
of their needs, again, I'll go over them.
Yeah.
Edge, offensive tackle, safety, wide receiver. Those are some of the glaring ones. And to me, they addressed Kadarius Toney with the first pick they had in this round, which you have them taking him here.
Right.
I have him taking Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense because on your board they didn't take a wide receiver with that other pick.
Nope.
Here, I believe they take Jason Owa out of Penn State.
Okay.
Fills that edge need, fills that defensive pick in the first round that they love to go with. And they find guys, man. They always find guys to fill in on defense that just pan out. And I think Jason Owa is one of those guys that gets overlooked a little bit as an edge rusher with these other guys that are a little more flashy. But I think Jason Owa just fills that Baltimore draft pick, right? Like he's just the prototypical Baltimore draft pick that you look at and you go, that makes sense. That makes sense for them. That's going to work out.
I dig it.
Next up is
And the final pick.
Yep, the final pick
Your Super Bowl champion.
is the Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think they build up that defense even stronger. I think they go Zeven Collins out of Tulsa.
Interesting.
I'm not even gonna hold off. Frank, you can go in a minute. That's exactly who I have them taking here. If he falls to them, at this pick, that makes perfect sense. He has fallen way farther than he probably should have.
Right.
He's very talented. He's even a pick that teams like Buffalo and Cleveland could take. He's that talented. They could take him there.
Yep.
I believe he goes here if he's still available, which he is for us.
I
agree
think
with you.
you're about to see exactly how much of a hand in this team Tom Brady actually has. Because I have them going Landon Dickerson with the last pick of Alabama.
Okay.
More or less, I look at it and go, okay, you have Tom Brady for what, 2 more years they signed him for? 3 more years at this point? Keeping him upright is the single most important thing to them winning.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot allow a 43, 44-year-old quarterback to be laying on the ground and still expect that he's going to play like Tom Brady plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to build that line up to continue to protect him and then use the later picks to fill in that defense because they've been fairly successful with the later round picks on defense.
Right.
That makes sense.
Can't argue with that.
All right. And we're just gonna do one more of those because I love that sound. And I cannot wait for Thursday.
I dig it.
Cannot wait. Gonna be fantastic.
No doubt.
All right. Yeah, that was fun.
Our first mock draft is in the books.
First mock draft's in the books. I had fun.
I did too.
I hope everybody had fun at home.
Yep.
And followed along and enjoyed themselves.
No doubt.
Anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
No, honestly, everybody just thanks for listening and supporting our show. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
With that being said, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. Follow us on all of our social media like Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Please follow us. Log on to our website, sotdet.com. Again, that's sotdet.com. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening and or watching. We appreciate everybody that supports us. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
And you were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I've ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.